field, on the herbs, and even after we were like staying here on the garden, and just you knew like once every half an hour it was an aftershock. So we just were like eating outside and say with Jan say go lay down on the garden to feel to see what does it feel when you are outside on the floor, like on the ground, which is like really naturally stuff, and see what does it do to just shake it on the ground, which is like, because if you are inside this place, the house, or you see a big truck coming, or like you know, this big tools, jacking hammer, you know how does it feel to make it like shaking. But if you are on the ground and on the grass and just lying on the floor like this, watching the sky, and it's moving, and it's really impressive. It's like, what's going on? It's like, well, it's not it doesn't seem natural, but it's nothing more natural than that.
That's scary.
And yeah, then after the 3 days after the earthquake, we left Christchurch, and it takes about 1 hour to left just to reach the suburbs of Christchurch. There's so much traffic jam, and still the road was really badly damaged. So it's nothing compared to now. Even now, it's like they made like traffic lights are back, and they managed to close this road, so they make 2 lines for the cars to you know, like go around and kind of normally. But even 3 days after, it was still it was pretty hard to go around the city and leave, and everyone was leaving the city. And then we left at the beginning of the afternoon, and then we arrived in the evening in Dunedin. And as Peter told us, like everything was fully booked, couldn't book any room, and there were like signs, no vacancy everywhere, no vacancy. There was no way to find a room. Then finally, after looking for, I would say, half an hour for every motel we were going, that we find a room. I came out in the late evening, about 9 or 10 p.m. and to grab something to eat, and I saw 2 people looking for something on a map, and then I asked them what was going on, if they need some help, and then they just told me, oh yeah, we're looking for a church. So our church? I said, yeah, we are coming from Christchurch, and we're looking for a church to pray for the people still in Christchurch. So then I said, I cannot help you anyway. I'm not from Dunedin, and I was in Christchurch as well. And then even the owner of the motel told us they're everywhere. Dunedin is fully booked because all the people came from Christchurch. That was just incredible how to see this. All the city has been like busy, and just because of the people from Christchurch. And even this guy from the hostel said I had like 10 people sleeping in the living room because the day after we changed from the motel to the hostel to the backpacker, and in this backpacker it said again, no, we still have no room left. The last night we had like 10 people sleeping in the living room because all the rooms were fully booked, and these people had nowhere else to go, so he just told them just sleep on the couch and on the floors everywhere they can. So that was just crazy.
So it seems like even the outskirts towns, the people were still trying to help, saying, yeah, you can stay here, but all I have is the floor.
Even outside, and during our trip in New Zealand, you wouldn't see any city which has at least a small donation box for Christchurch City. Everywhere you could see donation for Christchurch, donation, and even sometimes on this box I could see pictures that I've never seen before. Like I still remember this small picture of the, not like tramway, railway, but it's real train, railway, which is supposed to be straight, and in some parts it's just going like small wave. Like someone, actually like a toy, someone would with a finger push the railway for this part, just making on the side like a S. And it was incredible to see this picture.
I seen that out in the park where they have the runners, and they actually, the land would push the runners together and either bend it up or bend it into that S. But on the other side of that bicycle path where the guide runner was straight. I couldn't understand. It's like, you know, okay, I can understand how it would push together, but you would think both sides. It was amazing to see how the land had shifted within itself.
Yeah.
It blew it's still blowing my mind how these things can happen.
Aureliean, did you have any other impressions of how Kiwis were dealing with the earthquake, either in Christchurch, your neighbours, or the emergency response team, or as you said, outside of Christchurch?
Well, in Christchurch, everyone has been like lots of solidarity, because everyone was in the same bad situation without electricity or anything. And then when we get all around the South Island, all the donation box that shows us that there was like solidarity even outside of Christchurch. And even when we said we are from, we were in Christchurch when the earthquake happened, people started to ask us if we were right, and no people were injured that we knew, and then it's like just on the first week after the earthquake, and that because we were still close to Christchurch, close enough that for people to see that everyone came as a refugee to Dunedin or all the city around, but then we came back as a tourist, normal tourist, that we didn't talk too much about Christchurch anymore, and then the Japan earthquake happened, so makes remember everyone about the earthquake, and we saw good solidarity when we learned that New Zealand team has been sent to Japan to help them, and then what Japanese sent some helping troops to New Zealand, to Christchurch, to help them.
Wow. So Japan sent people over here
to
help, and then when they went to theirs, so okay,
then the Kiwis send a few people there to help people in Tokyo, which is good, really.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. That's a good thing.
And especially after the warning of the tsunami in New Zealand, after the earthquake in Japan, our parents were worried about us, that they heard in Europe they were tsunami alert on Australia and New Zealand and Fiji, Tonga, some even in Chile as well, and they just called us, don't stay on the coast. But then when we talked to Kiwis, they said there was just a warning for the North Island, and there is nothing to fear on the South Island. I mean, not on the coast where we were.
Yeah.
Not on the East Coast.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you heard about the Japanese tsunami and earthquake? Were you able to see or hear the news as it happened?
Well, we were traveling, so we didn't have access to internet or TV. We just watched the news, and maybe using the McDonald's Wi-Fi maybe 3 or 4 days after the earthquake, and then that's how we saw that it was really, really, really bad. The first things we knew that we've been waking up during the night by Mary Jane's mother calling us and like pretty worried about us, telling not to stay on the coast. They had a really, really bad earthquake in Japan. That's how we know that. But then we didn't know much more about this, and we learned more on the news, on the internet, and that was really pretty scary what we saw. Because we've been through that, you can imagine what is it when it's like in the super giant city and with an earthquake that strong.
I can't imagine.
Oh yeah. Even if it's the Japan is kind of ready with earthquake, they have all these buildings for the anti-seismic buildings, but that's so strong. Like I don't think any building can be resist to such a strong earthquake.
Yeah, something that size.
Yeah.
Which we guess we've seen.